Bitcoin is still hanging out at the top here around $72,000 and the miners are still suffering, bleeding. Let's talk about that this morning. So we've got Bitcoin here. It is at 72,212 currently. It got it as high as 72.5 per day. The all-time high is 72,996. So it needs to get to 73,000 basically before we make another new all-time high. On the daily, we are severely overbought. We're at 81 on the RSI. Let's look at where we are on the weekly. The weekly's at, oh wow, at 94 basically. That's pretty intense. I can't really go much higher than that. So I'm expecting Bitcoin to hopefully cool off here because that's really intense territory here right now. We're matching this previous high back here, which is fine. I mean, all we really need to do, we don't need to necessarily have a pullback as much as we just need to have a sideways bit of action here for a couple of weeks, which we have a couple of weeks until the halving. So if we were to chill, I don't know if we will though. That's the thing, like these ETFs and businesses and governments are all scrambling over themselves, trying to get more and more Bitcoin right now before the halving. So we might actually see Bitcoin take a breath, or not see Bitcoin take a breath until after the halving, but then even that's even less of a likely scenario because then there's half the supply, daily supply after the halving, and I can't see the demand, just falling off a cliff at that point. So, I mean, we might not see a break. There's a no break scenario in Bitcoin where we just slowly grind higher and higher and higher. And if you watch some other channels like Invest Answers, they were talking on that channel yesterday about Bitcoin hitting, you know, $100,000 before the halving. And that had been revised up from their previous assumptions about what was going on and the level of demand and all the other math that they do. It's a fun channel to watch out. I'm not affiliated with them in any way at all. I just watch them and I do enjoy his content. Anyways, that's what's going on with Bitcoin right now. The ETF pressure is there. More and more players are getting in on this. MicroStrategy is going hard, buying all the Bitcoin they possibly can. The ETFs are having trouble even finding the Bitcoin because everyone's buying 10 times the daily supply of Bitcoin right now, which is just, it is an absolute madhouse, and that's why we're continuing to grind up. Now, let's look at MicroStrategy real quick. That's not right. MSTR. MicroStrategy, they're up about 4% today. Does that match Bitcoin? I'll check in a second. Yeah, they're slowly grinding up. They're at $1,500 now. Wow, just the other day they were at 1,000 here when we had that big drop here on March 5th, and then just grinding up. If you're in MicroStrategy, good job. You're really nailing it right now with this. And there is a reason MicroStrategy is not suffering while the miners are, and that has to do with the halving specifically. MicroStrategy doesn't have any risk associated with the halving. So MicroStrategy doesn't have any of the associated risk with the halving event. So the miners, they will have half their production in about a month. So whatever they're producing today is going to be cut in half in a month. And the market is looking at that and thinking of that as risk, as uncertainty, as are they going to be profitable? That's the thing they're concerned about. Now, if you were to look into the miners that they have deployed and the cost of their electricity, you'd know which ones are going to be profitable based on, Bitcoin's price and be able to, fairly accurately predict, okay, this miner's probably going to survive. But I don't think Wall Street's really putting that much thought into it at this point in time. Or maybe they are and they're just messing with us. I don't know. Uh, anyways, oh, Bitcoin's going up. So Bitcoin's up 0.8%. MicroStrategy is up 6% off of that news. So they are definitely acting as a leveraged play against Bitcoin right now. They are getting all the benefit, none of the downside of everything related to Bitcoin. In fact, they're getting the benefit of the halving, meaning all the Bitcoin they currently hold is going to be worth even more very soon here. And companies like Marathon, which is actually up to date a tiny bit, is not getting any of the benefit of that, even though they hold thousands and thousands and thousands of Bitcoin because their underlying operation is subject to that halving of their production here in just a month, so that they are currently suffering from that. And if we look at their drop here from the top, let's see what was their drop from the top. How much have we come down? We actually went to the 20s today, 42%. So it's like almost matching up with that level of how much their production will be. cut here very soon. And if you look this morning, what did I say and what have I been saying since we were back here in early March? We're going to get back into the 20s. We got to 1952 this morning before that dip got bought up. I don't know if it'll go lower than this. I do feel like it might revisit it though. Got exactly to my price target. Now let's see if it's going to hang out here or if it's going to go up. I love it when I'm right sometimes. It feels super good. Anyways, yeah, hit my line, my little orange line that I've had locked here forever. It actually went a little bit below it. Let me get rid of this one. Actually went slightly below it and then wicked right back up again. Now this is still a pretty ugly candle. We'll see if it continues to come down a bit. I do like the wick on the bottom, but it is not still like a great candle. If it closes blue, it'd be pretty sweet, but and that could be a reversal candle if it turns blue, but I mean, only time will tell. Anyways, let's see how long it was down there this morning. Let me get the 10-minute chart. Yeah, it was down there less than 10 minutes. It's down there less than 10 minutes. It came on one candle, hung out there for a second candle, and then blasted off on the third candle. So it really wasn't down here very long. I really did think that this was going to be pretty strong support. It's one of the most traded zones of Marathon Digital. So if you pick this up under 20 or are still picking it up near 20, of course, this is not financial advice nor a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. But in my opinion, you did pretty well there in that position at around 20 on Marathon. Now, it could come lower. Honestly, now that we've cracked 20, it could come as low as, 15, 50, $16. That is possible. It needs to stay above $15 to stay bullish on this larger trend line though, in terms of higher highs and higher lows on the larger chart. Now let's take a look at CleanSpark. CleanSpark also hit some pretty bad lows this morning. In fact, CleanSpark is down nearly 2% today, while Marathon was up. So we are diverging a little bit there. This is creating a head and shoulders here. You can see left shoulder here in mid-February, head here late February, other shoulder forming right now. If we get below $15, if we get below $15 on CleanSpark, we are going to have a bad time. Now, it's fighting it. You can see the wicks on the bottom here. Those are showing strength. Wick on the bottom, wick on the bottom, wick on the bottom. The wicks on the bottom are showing some strength. They're showing that it doesn't want to go there. But price action is slowly grinding it in that direction. So price needs to stay at or above $15 for me to still feel any kind of bullishness on this chart right here. But this is looking like a head and shoulders, and I am absolutely mentally preparing for this to come crashing down to around, 13.50, maybe even 12 or $11 in the coming days before the halving. So we could see some pain in this stock for another month or so. In all of these stocks, we could see pain for another month or so. So yesterday was pretty dramatic, 16% down. That sucked. Today we're down another cent and a half. So, we're looking at a total of 17.5, 18% in the last 2 days. That's pretty dramatic. That sucks. Hopefully we do see a bit of a turnaround. We have seen before that CleanSpark does tend to turn around, and when it does, it is powerful. So we could come up and take out this high here at 21.33. Now I'm not expecting it. Not expecting it. It totally could happen. We are outside of this upward ascending channel that I drew here the other day. We're outside of it, so that is bearish. We are below the 15-day moving average and the 5-day moving average, so we could come and kiss those from beneath or at around 1762 before potentially encountering resistance there and moving back down toward 15. If we get above the 15-day moving average at 1762, if we get above that and hold above it for the end of the week, this week, I think that we're looking at our base case for CleanSpark going forward, that being, around, $16 being the bottom. So we'll keep a lookout for that, but right now I am looking at this head and shoulders and I'm saying, don't like that one bit, and it could easily come down and kiss the top of the previous high from the last cycle in December at 1360. So that's pretty easy for it to do if it gets below $15. So if we get below $15, 1360, here we come. 1316 doesn't hold because it's not super strong support. We're coming all the way down into this little box here around 1124 and then kiss my calls goodbye. No, that's not really. They're out till 2026. So I'm not too concerned. I'll hold them through all of that pain. In fact, I might add to them. Again, not financial advice, nor a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. It's just what this chart is looking like right now. And given the dynamics of the current cycle and the fact that we're going into the halving, investors are expecting these companies to lose half of their production in April, which they will because the halving does happen. So that is causing a lot of downward pressure in this stock, along with insider selling at these tops, as we saw from the SEC filings. They also have the ability to dilute us by over another 100 million shares going forward. Now, I don't know if they'll do that now. That doesn't seem super strategically placed at the moment, but I mean, because they can't get the highest dollar value for those stocks if they were to dilute right now, but we'll see. Anyways, let's look at Bitfarms. How are they doing today? Bitfarms is down 3.3%. We're down. We got as low as 226. We're hanging out at 231. Honestly, on Bitfarms, I see $2. I see $2 coming in. It's the center of this ascending channel I've got here. We've had a reversal down at $2 before. I feel like $2 is probably our what we are inevitably going to come and at least glance against here on Bitfarms. We are below the 50-day moving average on Bitfarms. That's how bad that is. The 5-day is below the 50-day on Bitfarms. That's not great. Once this yellow line, the 15-day, comes and crosses under the 50, though, kind of like back here, you see where I have this little red dot, and then we started curling down and back up again. That's where I'll start feeling like maybe a bottom is in. I've noticed on this with this indicator that that red dot tends to um, mark near a bottom, not exactly a bottom, but like it usually marks and like, oh, yep, and then a bottom starts coming in. Now that's not always the case. Sometimes it's a continuation, but I think when prices started to curl over, like it's going to start curling here probably pretty soon, that's when I'm like, oh, maybe it's a bottom. Kind of like, I mean, right here, this was continuation. It went up first and then continued. You'll see it on that indicator. And this indicator is real simple. It's just four SMAs, the 5, 15, 50, and 200. And then the arrows are when the 5 crosses up or down on the 15 SMA, and the dots are when the 15 SMA crosses the 50. That's all it is. It's a little thing to indicate like which way the momentum is moving currently. And then the plus signs are squeezes. These down here, these little squares, those are internals. That's if these turn red or green depending on if the ADD, the tick, and the volt are all green or all positive or all negative. And that would all positive is green, all negative is red, indicating positive or negative momentum at the current time in the overall market. Anyways. Let's look at Bit Digital real quick. Bit Digital, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Came down. We touched this line again and rejected. Oh man, yeah, gotta learn how to draw lines, man. Really gotta learn how to draw lines. Like predicting what's gonna happen. I mean, you can't predict, but you can get a good guesstimate of where price will likely come to and reverse once you get used to doing technicals and drawing lines. Like this megaphone is really like if we break beneath this green line here, if it broke beneath that, I'd be real scared right now. I'd say we'd be minimum coming into this 196 range. And we could totally revisit this 196 range at this rate, the way that this thing's been getting beaten down and just absolutely punished. It's down 6% today. I don't even know what news caused that. Might have been no news whatsoever. But that is brutal. So that's what's going on with the miners today and with Bitcoin and potentially why they are diverging. They are dipping into the halving, which is normal. And the reason for that seasonality is because investors see a halving of their production upcoming with nothing they can do about it. So they're wondering, is this company actually going to survive or not? Which, if you do a little more digging, you can kind of guess which ones are likely to survive more than others. But of course, there's no way to really, truly know. With that said, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a profitable day.